Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to look at the SAT essay model, and I'm going to go over each part of the template with you as demonstrated within this model. Okay, so we're going to begin with the introduction. For the introduction, we have three parts. Now, one of these parts, the very beginning part, is something extra. You don't have to have this, but if you have time, you can put it in. So if you look at the very first part, we would count this part as the hook. So the hook is just something that explains the issue in general. So if you think you can do that effectively, again, you can include that. So this begins with the problem that the digital parent trap brings up. It says currently Americans face a paradox. On one hand, teacher technology may be the solution to many world problems, including sustainability and medical advancements. On the other hand, technology may be dumbing people down, making them reliant on the seemingly omnipotent Google rather than critical thinking skills and intelligent debate. Okay, so what you might notice is that part right there is highlighted in green. So what I want to point out to you is that anything that's highlighted in green will help you rack up points as far as control of language on the rubric is concerned. Anything that's highlighted in yellow will help the writer show skills in reading comprehension, show that they really understood the passage well. And anything that's highlighted in blue will show their ability to analyze. By analysis, we mean the ability to take out the devices that the writer, Eliana Docterman, uses and explain how they impact the reader. So those are the three things that are going to be examined in this model. So let's look at this part here in green. How does that help get the writer to the very top of the rubric on the SAT model? Well, there are two things that work here. First of all, this is very sophisticated sentence structure. I want you to notice right here, what we have is something called an em dash. That's when you take a sentence that's pretty much done and you add more onto it. And that em dash right there, that long dash, shows that you are going into more detail. So only people who are really confident in their writing skills can normally do that effectively. So that's one way of demonstrating effective sentence structure. Another good example of effective sentence structure is this colon right here, which that shows sophisticated punctuation like the em dash. Usually with a colon, you start with something general. This starts to talk about a paradox, and the part right after that explains specifically what that paradox is. Okay. Another thing that shows control of language is the ability to use high-level language in moderation, so not to overdo it and to do it very effectively. I'm just going to point out some high-level words here. You have the word paradox. Okay, and then you have the word sustainability, reliance, omnipotent. Okay, so there's just, look at that. There's 4 different examples of high-level language there, and we're only looking at 2 sentences. Also, another thing about these sentences that would stand out to a judge is the ability to use transitions well. That would also definitely give points for the control of language. So you have the transition here currently, and on the other hand, right here. And on one hand was used before that. So again, we have a lot of things going on in those 2 sentences, but you wouldn't have to use them. You could start right with your at SOAP sentence, and here it is. Eliana Docterman's work, The Digital Parent Trap, which was originally published in 2013, recognizes this issue and helps parents understand what their roles must be in these turbulent, technology-laden times. They must offer effective monitoring, but also recognize the benefits of technology and encourage its proper use. Okay, again, we have that nice colon there that's used effectively, so sophisticated sentence structure. Secondly, we have all the parts of at SOAP. So we have the author, Eliana Docterman. We have the title, The Digital Parent Trap. We have the subject, which is Parents and Technology, which is conveyed right there in the title. We have the occasion, which is 2013. We have the audience, which is parents. And we have the purpose. It says recognizes this issue and helps parents understand what their roles must be. That would be the purpose. Okay, so we've got all parts of At SOAP there. At SOAP shows your ability to really pick out pertinent information and summarize what the passage is about. That's why you would get points there for reading comprehension if you could do that effectively. Then you need to go right into your thesis. Dr. Min uses numerous statistics, so that's the first device, and studies, the second device, to help her audience understand the logic behind embracing technology while at the same time proceeding with caution. So you have the what, and then right here is the why. Why did she do that? When it comes to analysis, it begins with the thesis. You have to have a thesis that is explicit. That means anybody can see it, they can check it off their list, and the rest of your paragraphs can support it. Okay, so now we're going to talk about going further into that support for the thesis. So we're going to look at the first body paragraph. If you look at the template, you'll begin that first body paragraph with a topic sentence. So in this case, the example is the statistics. So notice how you have statistics right here, that's the what, and it's mentioned right here in that topic sentence. The statistics that Dr. Min includes help our audience understand just how ubiquitous this issue is. And of course, ubiquitous is in green because it's one of those high-level words that's used effectively. Then after your topic sentence, you're going to go into all the different support for that. So just look at the topic sentence again. It's like a mini thesis statement. So you have statistics as the what, and what do they do? Help our audience understand that just how ubiquitous this issue is. Okay, so now let's look at the stats. She writes, by all measures, this generation of American kids, ages 3 to 18, is the tech savviest in history. 27% of them use tablets, 43% use smartphones, and 52% use laptops. She also writes, Los Angeles County alone will spend $30 million on classroom iPads this year, outfitting 640,000 kids by late 2014. Later on, she points out that 80% of U.S. school districts say they are on the cusp of incorporating web-enabled tablets into everyday curriculums. So notice how just the part of the statistic that is needed to show the information is taken, not necessarily the full sentence. Also notice how each one is transitioned into. That's again how you would get some control of language points. Okay, now we have another statistic, again, good control of language. Looking at these statistics, parents would realize how pertinent tech savviness has become. Okay, now look right there. This is what will happen. What will happen to the reader when they see this? They will realize how pertinent tech savviness has become. And then again, you got the M dash and that further explanation. So many children are using devices both inside and outside the classroom on a daily basis. The popularity of technology may also make some families worry that they may not be able to keep up with the trend if they don't have the latest devices at home. So notice how this is what the reader is going to think. This is how the reader is going to react. That's all part of analysis. If you only summarize what she said, but don't explain how the reader would react to what she said, then you don't have analysis. Notice that transition there. In addition, parents would notice how much money schools are investing in various devices. Again, we have a great transition. All of these factors may act as an impetus for parents to begin budgeting to include more devices in the home. Again, another transition. When all the numbers are analyzed together, adults will most likely conclude that even if they want to escape the constraints of technology, they probably will not be able to. So they will have to face these circumstances in ways that best benefit their children. Okay, so going further into the essay, we're going to go into the second body paragraph. The good news is you only have to write 4 body paragraphs, and it's kind of like paint by numbers. You know exactly what to do for each paragraph. As long as you do it, you're good to go. So let's look at this example. We have our topic sentence. Dr. Min is seemingly not a technology fanatic. She, for example, includes findings from Grunwald Associates that state that. So all of these things are going to support that she's not a technology fanatic. And remember, it's also going to bring up studies because that was the second device in the thesis. Barely half of U.S. parents agree that mobile technology should play a more prominent role in schools. And she even mentions that some parents may pay as much as $24,000 to send their kids to month-long digital detox programs. She also mentions the Waldorf schools, which limit technology use not just at school but also at home. All of these examples reveal, right here is the reader impact. All of these examples reveal that some people feel overwhelmed by the technology in their lives and do not want to be dominated by it. Okay. But it doesn't just show this. There's 2 aspects of this. She's not a fanatic, but on this, she's not a technology fanatic, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't support technology to a degree. It says, on the other hand, Dr. Min also mentions a study from MIT, which concluded that when students are able to learn in the virtual worlds on iPads or laptops, retention rate skyrockets to 90%. And she quotes a principal who says that tech savviness is important so that students can stay competitive in academics and the job market. Obviously, the impact of technology on its users is complex. Okay, right there shows the overall impact. You've got some bad use of technology, you've got some good use of technology. And that goes back to an important word that is often used in both the ACT and the SAT, the word complex. The idea that there's usually more going on than something basic. There's a lot of different things at work. In a sense, there are paradoxes. On one hand, it can stunt creativity and keep kids from the natural world, something the digital detox programs and the Waldorf schools try to remedy. On the other hand, it can immerse students in active learning and strengthen their understandings of challenging subject matter. People also have to face the reality that this is the world America is growing into. Again, you see that colon. A world where tech fluency is needed for everything from a job application to a scholarship opportunity. And this is interesting. Right here you have what's called a transitional sentence. And that's that question, so what are parents to do? And this is not a bad idea because it really shows analysis as well, because it shows how parents are supposed to react to what Dr. Min is saying. So the response is, when all is said and done, good again transition, it seems to be largely about balance. Again, summarizing it to its most important aspect. Dr. Min's numerous statistics and research findings reveal that the parents need to see technology as an essential, helpful tool, but at the same time, definitely not a panacea and even possibly a hindrance in certain circumstances. Dr. Min's, okay, so we've got this is how parents are supposed to see it. Now we're going to go right back to our thesis statement. So again, remember your conclusion, you're summing everything up and you're making sure to restate your thesis. Dr. Min's heavy use of facts and respected sources will probably give parents some peace of mind that technology has a place in their homes and in their children's schools. And again, like that, those cool transitions. Ultimately, though, they will have to ensure that their children see more of its benefits and elude its disadvantages. So I hope you can see there how the template works. Remember that high-level language is good, but it definitely needs to be natural. And now I challenge you to write your own response to this particular article for practice. Thanks.